Hi all. I'm Alyssa Beeman. I'm Brian Beeman's wife, and he said in your meeting today that you guys were interested in seeing how I create my worksheets on Google slideshows so that the kids can then submit them back to you with all kinds of embedded information. So I have been slowly trying to either create new stuff for my online classes. I teach biology, environmental science, honors biology, and international baccalaureate biology, so a little bit of everything. So I'm not only trying to create new things that are distance learning specific, but I'm trying to take a bunch of my old stuff and convert it into distance learning based. I'm also trying to get a bunch of like hands-on activities, which is a little bit harder. And I know you guys are all hands-on type classes if this is Brian's PLC watching it. So it adds like an added challenge, but there are ways to do it. My best friend in all of this has been YouTube. And so I'll go to YouTube and I'll search in how do I whatever. How do I teach choir music distance learning? And there will be ideas that come up and then I just kind of make things my own. But this little tutorial that I'm going to put together for you is how to take something you already have, like a worksheet, and convert it into something that the kids can do online. I am telling my students that my class can be run asynchronously. So the ideal is that, yes, I would get on and we'd be Zooming together and they'd get all the information just like they were seeing in class. But the reality is the way I run my classes is I get up, I talk for 5-10 minutes, and then they start their activity, unless I'm lecturing, but I'm recording those as well so that they can do it at home. So everything I've got are self-contained packets that the kids can do. I'm going to share my screen. By the way, I'm making this on Zoom. So if you have a Zoom account, I know you guys all use Google Meets, but this is the way I've been doing all of my lectures, is that I will start a meeting on Zoom. And so I'm meeting with just me, myself, and I will start recording it. And then I'll hit screen share. And it lets me pick what screen I want to share, whether it's the share of my desktop that has my picture on it, or the share of my windows that I have open. And so this is like the window that launches when I launch Zoom. But I also can get whatever I've got on my desktop for my students to see. So if I was lecturing, I'd have my PowerPoint up here. In this case, I've got the worksheet from my Google Drive that I want to adapt for the kids to do at home. And so to get that, I would just go to my Google Drive. And Brian doesn't have this on his Chrome browser, so wherever you guys would go to get your Google Drive. And I'd pick the activity I want. And so I've got my germination inhibition lab. Then I would open up a new Google Drive so that that lab stays where I can get to it. And I'd go to new, go to Google Slides, and click on it. Google Slides is essentially Google's version of PowerPoint. So if you have grown up in your teaching career creating PowerPoints, that's what you're doing with Google. It has a little bit more kind of usability, I think, than PowerPoint. And all of our students have kind of cut their teeth on Google the same way we cut our teeth on Office. And so as hard as it was for me in the last year or so, I've converted over to all Google. I'm still not a huge fan, but I do like the Google Slides for this. Put in a title, so seed germination inhibition, and it's a lab, so I'll put that there. If you want to put a background, so let's say I want to get cutesy, and that's kind of been my thing, my stress relief. Open up a new window, and I could type seeds into a Google search. I always click on images because that gives me the Google, so hopefully you can see my mouse clicks. And, you know, this is kind of a cool slide. So I right click it, and it brings up the window, and I save the image. Doesn't matter what I save it as because I'm going to find it and use it real quick. And I just click save. Then I go back to my presentation and I find where on my slide nothing is highlighted. So my seed innovation isn't highlighted, my lab's not highlighted. I've just clicked on the slide and you can see I get the word background. If I click on that, I can then choose an image and it'll come up, and I'm going to browse my images, and I know that that's saved in the downloads, and here it is on download 1. I can find it, click it open, it pulls it in, I hit done, and now I realize, wow, those words don't show up anymore. So if you can see, the text box for seed germination inhibition is kind of outlined in blue. I can come up in here and hit the little paint can that's tipped over and fill that into a different color. I always try and think of the boys and not do pink, even though that's kind of my go-to. And I change the color of that box. Now I'm going to make my boxes smaller by kind of dragging. Anywhere there's one of these square boxes, I can drag up and down. And again, paint can, click the color, and it fills it. Now I've got my title slide. When I want a new slide, I click slide and I click new slide, just like you would in PowerPoint. I'm going to be using a lot of my own text boxes, so I tend to just get rid of the ones that come in with the slide. And the first thing I want to do is, even though I've given my kids the information, I want to remind them what seed germination is and how it works. So I'm going to click this box with a T in it, make a text box, and I'm just going to put in here, watch the video to remember the details of seed germination. When I click away from it, the blue outline goes away, so you just get my words. Those are really small. I can highlight my words and come up here and increase the font of it. I can pull down where it says Arial and get different fonts if I want. And now I want to insert the video. I always go to YouTube first and I find the video I'm interested in, and I copy the address of that video. So I found my SciShow Kids, How Does a Seed Become a Plant? And yes, they're high schoolers, but I still use SciShow Kids. I click on it and I come up to my address bar here, click on the address bar, and I copy that address. Once I have that address copied, I'm done with that YouTube tab, and I close out my tabs. If you've ever seen my husband's computer, it's like a million tabs. I close out my tabs so I know what I'm looking for, and I can go back and forth between what I really need. This is my untitled presentation, which is bad form. I'm going to title this. By just clicking on it, it pulled in the title of the presentation I'd already put. All right, so to put that video in, I click on a blank spot on my slide, and I go to Insert Video. It pulls up YouTube, and you can either search for your video, but I find this really awkward. I find it easier to find my video on a different tab first. Or what I do is I just paste in that address I picked up from the YouTube tab, and I hit search. That pulls up the exact video I want. I click on it, and I hit select. And there is my YouTube video, and I can drag it wherever I want. When this is in presentation mode, the kids can just hit play right here, and the video plays right into that slide for them. Okay, I've got my background, I've got my title slide. Now we need to get into the meat of what we're doing. So I'm gonna go to a new slide. Again, I don't like any of this. And I'm gonna go to that document that I pulled up out of my drive. And I'm gonna do some screen captures of this document, because the last thing I wanna do is retype all of this information. I just don't have the patience for that. So I'm gonna find what would be good on one slide, and I'm going to screen capture that. I use a Mac, not familiar so much with a PC, but if you Google how to screen capture on a PC, it'll give you the key. If you're on a Mac, it's Command-Shift-4, and it'll give you this little crosshair. And I just drag that crosshair over to the information I want, and it kind of makes it this gray color. As soon as I let go, it takes a snapshot of just those words and saves it on my desktop. Now I can go back to my slide presentation, and I click this with the mountains on it where it says insert image, and I'm gonna upload it from my computer. I know my screenshots always go on my desktop, and you can see I've been doing this a lot today. I'm gonna find those words that I just screenshotted, and I'm gonna open it, and it comes right onto my slide. I didn't have to type anything in here. This is a lab I already had, and I'm just moving the words over. Because my labs are almost always PDFs, I'm gonna screenshot. If your lab was a Word document, you could copy and paste too. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go and grab my procedure. I'm gonna get a little bit of this tomato plant because there's really no way I cannot. Do a new slide. Get rid of the boxes. At this point, you could probably fast forward me if you know how to do this. Oops. Sometimes you make an error, it's okay. You can just delete out of it. To insert that image I just screen captured, I go to insert image, upload from the computer, click on the screenshot, and there it goes. And yes, I am using this time to actually do a lab that my kids are gonna use. New slide, same thing as before. Get rid of the boxes that are embedded. And now I'm gonna show you something new. Here is the data table that I want my kids to fill out. I am going to screenshot this data table. So on my Mac, it's Command-Shift-4, highlight it, and now I'm going to pull that into my presentation, into my worksheet. That's a Google slide, and it comes in. I want my kids to be able to type on this. This is something that they're going to turn into me. And so I'm going to take a text box, and I'm going to make that text box the size of the data table space that I want them to write in. To tell my kids that it's a text box, I'm going to change the weight of the line. That's what this does, is you can see it outlines my text box a little bit more. And I'm going to fill it in with a different color. Ooh, probably not pink for my boys. Okay. I'm gonna fill it in. Now, each of these boxes I know is the same. So I can click on that box, right click it, copy, and paste, and then drag it down so that it covers the next area. This is something you're gonna have to kind of get with your kids and make sure that they know that anytime they see this, that they need to type their answer into that. The first time I do it, I might let me close this windows. I might off the slide, insert a text box over here that says, put your answers in the peach text box. And I'm gonna highlight that yellow so that maybe if I come into where my font is, this button here is my highlighter. I'm gonna highlight that so my kids go, ooh, there's something I need to do there. This is now gonna be a pattern for a lot of my activities so my kids will know to do it. I'm not gonna make you watch me put the rest of the text boxes in. But I'm gonna do this with the rest of my worksheet. So I've got questions, same thing as before. I'm gonna screenshot those questions. And I'm gonna put them on a blank slide. And you can see it got really small. If I were to do this over again, which I might only do like 3 questions because then it'll pop them up bigger. So let's do that and you can see the difference. Because you want the kids to be able to read it, right? When they put it in presentation mode, it will be easier for them to read, but we really don't want to make this hard for them. We'll do this one last one here. Same thing, I want them to be able to put their answers on here. I want them to be able to type right on it because this is what they're going to turn back into me. So I'll take a text box and I will make them a text box for them to put their answer in. And again, I want to show them that this is a text box. So I'm going to go to the 3 dashed lines here, probably go to 3 point. That's going to put a black border around it. And then keep with my theme, fill that text box in with the color that shows them that, hey, this is where you write on something. Okay, let's say I get this all done. It's perfect. I'm going to roll it out to the kids. You are going to go, let's see what I can get rid of here. I'm going to move me down to this corner. You're going to go to your Google Classroom. And you are going to find the class that you want to load it into. So mine is my IB Bio class. And you're going to go to classwork. Under classwork, you've got your topics. To create a topic, by the way, you hit create and you click topic and you type in practice run or showing people how to do it. And you click add, and here is now your topic. You can take that topic and drag it wherever you want it so that it shows in the order for the kids that you want them to show it in. So when I thought my school was going to be doing Google Classroom, I put the things in the order that I was going to teach them. So I have my weekly agendas, I've got an introduction section, and then we would do plants. I am going to now create an assignment. For the assignment, I'm going to put the title. And for my directions, I always put follow the directions on the Google slideshow. At this point, you come down to the add, because you've already created it, and add from your Google Drive. The nice thing that Google does is it shows you the recent kind of things that you've worked on. So I'm going to click on my seed germination lab and click insert. Here is the most important thing when you make your assignments like this. Here where it says students can view file, you want to click the pull down button and do make a copy for each student. That way when Johnny opens up his Google Classroom, he has his own copy of the seed germination lab that he can type in and he can submit. If you do view, they have to go in and make a copy on their own, and not all of our kids are tech savvy enough to do that without bothering you. If you do, students can edit file. Honestly, I would never do that because then they're editing your file. And once they edit it, it's edited for everyone. So you want to do make a copy for each student. If you have multiple of the same class and you want to assign it, here where it says IB Biology 2, I could also click in and say, hey, I want it for my APES class as well. They're going to do the same lab. I actually don't, but you could. If you had assignments that you wanted to differentiate your English language learners, you could change it here. This is where you select how many points, or you could put it in ungraded. Due date. Topic, I'm going to put it under plants. That preloads it into that area for me. And then I click assign. And it takes a second. The kids can then open that and go work on it and then submit it back to you when it's due. And you guys can grade it just by going through click, 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 and grading those text boxes. Now, my husband said, oh my God, what a pain to have to click through the slides to get to all the text boxes. Yes and no. It goes pretty quick once you start doing it. And it allows you to leave comments, not in one big jumble, but on different slides where the kids are messing up. I'll admit there are times when I assign a full lab like that and I only grade one portion of it. I think that's it. Oh, if you're gonna make your own videos for this lab, I would then make a video showing me going through kind of the steps of the lab and showing them how they can substitute out lab equipment for what they have at home. I film that on my iPhone, I edit it on iMovie, and I upload all of my videos to YouTube. And I do that because with YouTube, I can then put in closed captions. And I told my husband I would show you that real quick too, if I can make myself smaller. Okay, so if I were to go to Again, I hate having a ton of tabs open. My YouTube. I never do this when the kids are there because then they can see all the stupid things that you watch. But go to your profile, and my profile is the little hummingbird, and go to your channel. When you are logged in with your MyOSD or OrangeUSD Google, it gives you your own YouTube channel. I'm logged in with my Saddleback, which is our school district. And here are all the videos I've made recently. If I go to my videos, it will pull up my videos. If I want to edit anything, I go to YouTube Studio. This is free. It's part of what you already have. So I go to YouTube Studio and I go to videos, and it gives me all of my videos. And I'm going to show you these edit buttons in a minute. It gives me my visibility. I tend to set my videos to public because I do PLC with teachers from other schools, and this way they can view my videos. I've got no restrictions on it. I kind of fudge and say that my videos are 13 and over, which 99% of my kids are 13 and over. This tells you the date that you publish it and then the views. This one cracks me up. This is how to write an IB lab, and 60 people have viewed it. That just means that someone out there is assigning it to their IB class. This is my how to do your digital notebook, and I assigned this to my classes today because we started, and 73 out of my like 200 kids actually watched the instruction video. That helps for when, you know, I get complaints and I go, really, people? Okay, so let's say I have just done a video. I upload it. I'm going to go to this pencil button, details, and I can pick my thumbnail here, and if I don't like my picture in any of them, I can upload a thumbnail from the internet. So I can change the thumbnail to just an apple because it's an Apple inquiry video. Then I'm going to go to more options. Always go to more options. In this original language video or original video language, set your language to English. This allows YouTube to generate closed captions for your video. So any kid who wants to watch it with closed captions can, but better yet, for your population of English language learners, once you set the original language to English, they can auto-translate their closed captioning to any language they choose. So last year when I taught ELL biology, my kids always put on closed captioning and translated them to Spanish. So they're listening to it in English, but they're reading it in Spanish. The other thing you want to do here is where it says comments and ratings. I click hold all comments for review. That way you can't have your Juan trying to be funny and writing a disgusting comment on your video. That's it. That's really all. If you guys need more help, please tell Brian, and I'd be happy to get on and help anyone. I'm still learning all of this too, but I'd be happy to help figure it out with you. Bye, and good luck on your first day of school.